Welcome back to the Star Trek Critic, where we are currently grading the animated series of the early 70s. Today's episode is BEM. Kirk and Spock observe a primitive species along with an ambassador from another planet with a take-apart body. According to this star date, V'ger will show up in just about a week. The animated series was pretty fluid about star dates, and in order, this is the last. And in this scene, the planet is actually rotating. Sometimes they don't. So who's running the ship? It must be Lieutenant Uhura. So their goal is just to plant monitors to watch the natives in their habitat. Scotty says the first eye. The first point is lost, since an alien should not be able to program the transporter at all. They just met this race and know very little about them. BEM has been in his quarters on the ship for quite a while, and he likes to speak pre-Yoda.
Understanding it is, Captain, but this one remains adamant.
The next point is lost, since BEM would not be able to program the transporter for Scotty and the transporter chief to miss if they were beaming them to the side of a cliff. Another point lost for the captain and first officer beaming down together. Another point lost for not bringing a security or research team. And another point lost for them rematerializing in different positions. Another point lost, since this type of creature is impossible. And how do they not feel that? And now Kirk says, don't touch the transporter. He's a little late for that, isn't he? Look closely. Kirk borrows Scotty's communicator to listen to Uhura, not his own, because that one doesn't work. Lieutenant Uhura is now in charge of the ship, while all the boys went down to the surface to play. Aww. Did you ever notice they always beam to a location as far away from their destination as possible, and then walk? BEM is no help on this mission at all, is he? This is a rather convenient trick of getting out of the Force, but there's no way it could be possible that a person can take himself apart and put himself back together again. Oh look, BEM got himself captured and now Kirk and Spock gotta deal with his mess. I just beam him up into the Enterprise brig. Why does Uhura have her back to the camera? And why are the turbolift doors open? And Scotty makes the second eye. Uhura beams up Scotty and Sulu. Oh look, Kirk just discovered the communicators are fakes. But BEM should be able to be found by the Enterprise because he has the real ones, so -1 point. Spock describes Aborigines in a primitive state, and BEM just sits there and does nothing. Kirk gives an appropriate response to BEM.
Shut up.
And now all three of them are in prison. Does Kirk realize Spock can't reach anybody from where he is? Now BEM says, Starfleet sucks and this is all Kirk's fault. See, he has them and the Enterprise could have spotted him. And now Kirk and Spock are like, what the heck is going on here? Spock calls BEM a colony creature. BEM says he wanted to see if they would rescue him. Kirk's like, you can't be serious, that's stupid. He really tells him off here, that's a good thing too. Kirk sits in a cage while putting somebody else under arrest. And of course there is an anomaly that's preventing Kirk from calling them. Scotty says the third eye, and makes a Loch Ness Monster comment. How do the natives not realize the three of them are already out of the cages? But when they try to fire, a spirit talks to them who sounds just like Lieutenant Uhura.
No, do not use your weapons.
Kirk tells the spirit his favorite Who song, and then, for the first time, you see what his middle name is.
I am Captain James Tiberius Kirk.
My children are not for your test.
Return, my child.
And now we know where the next generation got that idea. Kirk contemplates being a librarian. The next point is lost for reflections on the animation plate. Erics has found them.
I think he said maybe.
Scotty actually believes in sending security. And they're all back in jail again. BEM is not very nice to Kirk, is he? BEM calls Kirk and Spock failures and then leaves. He's just a little snot, isn't he? Kirk tries to communicate with the planet's god, and it worked. The entity asks them to leave, but Kirk still wants to find BEM. Uhura says the fourth and fifth eye, and you know what that means. Why don't they just lift those things up to get out? -1 point for pointing a phaser at the captain. Kirk poses like Peter Pan. Kirk says, don't fire, and now look what happens. They fire. Kirk accuses BEM of forcing them to break the Prime Directive. BEM doesn't seem to care, but the entity is now pissed. BEM believes he should take himself apart. The closest alien to the colony creature in other books are the Jofer from Brightness Reef. Obviously, David Brin got all his ideas from the Star Trek animated series. The entity also believes in the Prime Directive. Yeah! Scotty poses like Peter Pan. Back on the Enterprise, the turbulence doors are closed. Now they're open, so -1 point. Something's wrong with those doors. According to this, the quarantine only Federation vessels can't approach. What about Klingons and Romulans? And why are the doors closed again? And now they're open. Spock compares the entity to a god. And Kirk has a different opinion. This children's show ended quite philosophical. The entity sends one last message saying, "Thanks for visiting, come back in about 900 years. BEM, the show with the latest animated stardate, the T in James T. Kirk revealed. A colony creature and a primitive species looked over by a godlike entity gets a score of 91%. All in a Saturday morning kids show." Thanks for viewing. Be sure to leave comments below. Most importantly, check out those other videos and playlists and click that like button, the share button, and that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.